Hey everyone, Ashley Josephine here. Today's practice is going to be a little bit of digestion aid. So we're doing twisting poses and poses that are really beneficial for digesting hard to break down foods. This is a perfect practice if you're feeling a little bit bloated or like you overindulged in some eating. Great practice to do around the holidays when we're eating a lot of food that we're not used to, or if we just fall off the bandwagon, have a party or a really great outing, a really great meal with amazing food, and we just eat too much. If we feel a little bit grumpy or lethargic after meals like that, these poses will help you to break down all of that food, rush those toxins out of the body, and get you back to normal in no time. So we're actually going to start in child's pose, but we're going to take our fists and bring them right to the bottom of our belly on top of the pelvic bone so that your hands are resting against your thighs, elbows out to the side. Then you'll take really deep inhales and exhales here so that on your inhale, the belly presses out into the fists. The fists press into the thighs, you get a lot of resistance. It's slightly uncomfortable. On your exhale, you'll pull the belly button back in. Take a couple breaths here. By placing the fists here, you're actually massaging the internal digestive organs. And if you're really feeling not so great, or like you need an extra boost of detox, stay in these poses for a little bit longer than what I'm going to have you in. These are really just demonstrations so that you can see the pose and then put it in your life when and where you need it for however long. Alright, from here we're going to come up onto hands and knees. We're moving into half pigeon. So we'll start with our left. Actually, we'll start with our right. Bring your right knee up to the right wrist. Press your left foot back away from you. Your shin is going to come up towards the top of the mat. Hips are squared to the ground. On your inhale, press down to lift up your chest, and then exhale, fold over the leg. Now, your leg will probably be right around that area where your fists were, if you can come all the way down. If you can't come all the way down because you're tight in the hips, that's totally okay. Now from here we're going to take a twist. So you either stay here if the sensation is very intense in the hips, or you take the right elbow and you twist it to the outside of the sole of the left foot, just like you are in another twisting pose like a prayer twist or a revolved crescent lunge, and you rest your head down on the ground. And maybe you can get your shoulder all the way over there. It will totally depend on your flexibility. Work to keep the hips square to the ground. This is a pretty intense stretch. Remember to breathe deeply. Now you can stay here as long as you want. I'll release and do this on the other side to show you so you can come back through hands and knees and bring your left knee up to the left wrist. Shin comes parallel towards the front of the mat to the best of your ability. Right leg shoots back. Hips are squaring towards the mat. Press down to lift up the chest and then lengthen from the spine as you come down. Maybe you stay on your forearms. Maybe you even are up on your palms, opening up the hip here. If you can come all the way down, allow the calf to be that pressure in the body, massaging those internal organs. You can stay here for a couple breaths. Pressing out the belly on the inhale always, pulling the belly button back in on the exhale. Now this is what the twist looks like on the other side. So you'll actually twist and bring your elbow or maybe even your shoulder to the sole of the foot. Press the palms together to touch and breathe. Again, very intense stretch here. Compressing the digestive system now, so that when we come out of the twist, we'll get a lot of fresh blood flowing through these organs. That helps wash them out We're wringing them now like a wet cloth, getting out all of those extra things that we don't want there. And stay here as long as you need to. I'm going to come back up out of the twist. Bring my leg around, head on to the back. Moving into a little bit easier of a pose, but no less beneficial. This is called wind removing pose, and you just bring your knee into the outside of your rib cage. So the knee's coming in towards the armpit on the right side. Really squeezing the knee in. This is once again compressing the digestive organs. And if you're flexible enough and your thigh comes down to the outside of your torso, then when you inhale, you should be able to feel that thigh pressing back down on the belly. Beyond the digestive benefits, you're also getting some extreme hip openers here. So focus on your breath as much as possible. That way your mind won't go crazy on you. Then switch sides, pulling the left leg over towards the side. Really pulling it in as much as you can, extending the right leg long. Now the grip, you can take both hands over, maybe your both elbows, really hugging it in tight. So now we're in toes pose. You don't have to put the toes underneath you if you don't want. You can definitely come onto the tops of your feet and sit down on the backs of your heels. Now if you're in this pose with the backs of your heels and your butt, it might be a little bit uncomfortable. That's okay. Not everything is comfortable in yoga, and that's what we're really working with, trying to become comfortable with the uncomfortable. So you're either with your heels in the back of the butt. It might be slightly uncomfortable, that's okay. It is said in Kundalini Yoga that this pose can digest a rock. I've never eaten a rock to test it out, so I can't say from personal experience that this is true. However, I do come into this pose whenever I'm feeling a little bit overindulged, a little bit bloated or full, and it's always done wonders for me. It's made me feel a lot better. With that said, sitting here for a minute or two, you might not see any type of results. But if you're watching TV after dinner or something like that, and you can just come down onto the ground and sit like this for 5, 10, 20 minutes, I think you'll see a little bit of a difference. If you have the ability to bring your toes out underneath you and get that stretch in the fascia, it's really, really good for your feet. Highly recommend it. But if it's too much, I'd rather you take this pose down here sitting on your heels instead of taking some of the weight out like we sometimes do when we are on the tops of the toes to relieve the tension in the bottom of the feet. So why don't you close your eyes here? To round out our practice, we'll take a few deep inhales and exhales. Please stay in these poses as long as you'd like. You get more of a benefit the longer you can stay in the poses. Never feel pain though. Always come out if you start to feel like you're in pain. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope that your digestive process is all rejuvenated and renewed, that you're feeling much better than you did when you started. That's the whole point. My name is Ashley Josephine, and I'll see you again on the mat soon. Namaste.